Hi and welcome to the next part of this series. The aim of this video is to build in a little bit of redundancy into your OBS. Computers are not perfect. Things go wrong, so it's always best to have a good system in place for when things go wrong. This could be problems with audio balancing, this could be fixing issues with the microphone because the settings may have changed. Windows Updates has a habit of actually resetting all your sound settings quite often when it does a big update. So what I find handy is to build in redundancy into my entire setup. This is mostly in regards to your audio setup within OBS. So if I just load up our bass profile, we have our sound card and we have our microphone, which we have all our filters on, and we've got the sound card also ducking. So we only have two devices, and if we go into our settings, we are only using one track. For redundancy, you're going to need to use extra tracks. So for this reason, the first thing that I'd recommend that we do is we go to our sources and we add an output capture device. And I like to have things grouped together. So what we'll call this is raw sound card, and we go OK, and we turn off timestamps and we point it at our sound card. We move this down in the list because our raw is going down there. And I also recommend adding another audio input capture and calling this raw mic. And then we point this quite literally at our raw source of our microphone. And we again just bring this down here. So if we now look in our volume mixer, we have the raw microphone and the raw sound card, the mic and the sound card. I don't like the fact that nothing's together. So what I then recommend we do is we rename this to OBS sound card because it's what OBS will be mainly working with. And we rename this OBS mic. Now it will not dynamically update this, so let's close this and we relaunch OBS. Of course I'm already running some. So now we've got OBS mic, sound card mic, raw mic, raw sound card. The OBS's, oh yeah, I had a Windows update so it reset devices, so that to also make sure that that's there. So we now got two mics, two sound cards. The raw mic we leave as raw. We do not add any filters to the raw mic. The raw sound card, again, we do not add any filters to it. Now that we've got our things all set up, we go over to the audio mixer and we go advanced audio properties, and we get this lovely thing displayed where it's displaying all of our audio sources, and you end up having tracks that you can output these to. The best way to think about it is kind of like a river or a couple of streams. Think of the actual devices that you're adding in here as sources of rivers. And these tracks are the rivers that it can go into. You can put multiple into one source. We've been demonstrating that for the last 2 videos by having our OBS mic and our sound card going straight into track 1. So that way it's a mix of the mic and the sound card. The way it's currently set though, at this very moment, is the raw mic and the raw sound card is both going in there as well. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is this is going to be our main track. We don't want our backups going into track 1. The next thing that I recommend is the track immediately after it be just the raw sound card. So we untick the OBS sound card and the raw mic and the OBS mic. So on track 2 we only have the raw sound card. The next bit is sort of in case you've got a volume problem. So I then set OBS mic to go into track 3. So this is the microphone with all the filters on it by itself. So we then untick all the other ones in track 3 because we only want the OBS filtered mic to be going into track 3. And then we want track 4 just as the raw mic with no filters. Like I say, things can go wrong, so it's best to have raw versions of these devices recorded. As that's the only one that we want in track 4, we untick track 4 for the raw sound card and we just untick everything else. OBS mic sound card tracks 1, raw mic is going into track 4, OBS mic track 3, and the raw sound card is in track 2. So in this manner what we've got is ideally a perfect soundtrack with your mic and the game all in one. But if things go wrong, you can just grab the game audio and grab the OBS mic to fix any volume problems, or if you've got problems with your actual mic, you can then use the raw mic and use Audacity to try and fix some of the problems that you may encounter. Once that's done, the next thing that you need to do is obviously go to your output recording, because we're now showing that we've got only one audio track when in fact we're using 4. So you tick boxes 1 through to 4 and now it's going to multi-track the audio. Click OK, and that is basically the redundancy set up. So let's have a little bit of a play. What I have is a little bit of music that I just then will have playing in Media Player. As we instantly can see, our raw sound card is hitting the limit on the right hand side here. So we follow the same principle and we just bring that down to -10 hopefully. If in doubt, going in here and we can just so it's at the same sort of level as what the actual sound card is. Because we've renamed these devices, go into the OBS sound card and go into filters. The compressor is now showing sidechain ducking source none. We want to change that to the OBS mic. This way we get our ducking working, and if we have a look, we've got our microphone working at about the level that we want. So the next thing that I do, so going back to actually seeing how this all works in practice, if we're watching our levels, we see our filtered mic is up where it should be, so when I'm talking it's in this lovely yellow zone. The raw mic is a little bit lower because it's not got any filtering on, and we've got nothing coming through the sound card. So I've got a clip of music here that I normally use sometimes in some of my streams. So if I hit play on that, what we're going to see is, as we expect, the OBS sound card is detecting the audio on the mic and is ducking the audio. But the raw sound card is constantly staying at one constant level, which is what we want. We want the source of both the mic and the sound card to be untouched, so if we run into problems we can recover it. So I'm happy with how this is working, so let's stop that. Obviously, if you're that way inclined, I would recommend that you go to your stream and record, and we just repeat the same process. So we first off rename this as OBS. We rename the mic to OBS. Make sure all the filters are there. We go into the OBS sound card, we go into the filters, and we point that at the new OBS mic. We add our audio output, so raw sound card. Turn off device timestamps, put it to our sound card, bring that down, then we go to our audio capture and we call this raw mic. Timestamps are turned off. We point it at the raw microphone input and we bring that down. So we've got all our setup perfectly done. We go into our advanced audio properties and we deal with the fallout of this situation. So again, you want OBS sound card and mic going into track 1, so we turn off the raws in track 1. We don't want the OBS soundtrack anymore, and we don't want the raw mic in the second track because I always reserve my second track for my audio. Third track is the OBS mic on itself, so you untick all the other boxes. And in the fourth track we just want our raw mic, and then we untick everything else and our mixer is pretty much all there. We need to add a -10 dB to the raw sound card, just like before. And then we repeat the process for recording and we enable all 4 other tracks. And now your streaming and recording setup has built-in redundancy for when you're actually streaming and recording. Going back to our recording PC profile, again, it's the same deal, nice and simple. Rename OBS sound card, rename OBS mic, double check that all the filters are there. All looks good. So we go into here, go into filters, ducking source, OBS mic, add audio output, as we know, for sound card, untick device stamps, point it at your sound card, bring it all the way down. Now we add our raw microphone. And we point this at our microphone. Move this down. Go into advanced audio properties. raw sound card needs a -10 attached to it. And we go through again. So track 1, we only want the OBS stuff, untick the raw stuff. Track 2, we only want the raw sound cards, untick everything else. Third track, we want the OBS mic, and the fourth track, we want the raw microphone, and then untick everything else. And there you go. Go back into the settings, go to output recording, and enable the extra tracks. That's it, basically. So now what we're going to do is do a little test of this setup. So I'm going to hit the recording button, and as we can see, my OBS mic is coming in at the lovely yellow stage, and our raw mic is a little bit lower because it's got no filters on. The next thing I'm going to do is just play a music track in the background, so we can see that the raw sound card is staying at one constant level, and what we're seeing is when I'm speaking to the microphone, the OBS is actually ducking down the audio. So this is a proof of concept in regards to how things have worked. So now I'm going to stop the recording. So here we are with Audacity. So we're going to have a look at the recording that I made and have a look at the format of the tracks. So first track to import is going to be the track where it has both the microphone and the music simultaneously. Then what I need to do is go over to that file that I created, and I drag it in, and we select the next track, which is our example of the game audio, and then we're going to do the same again, and we're going to extract the audio of the microphone with filters. And then we're going to drop it in again and extract the fourth track, which is the microphone without any filtering done on it. So before I go any further, what do I mean by filtering? The easiest example is if we look here, there's this strange blip that isn't here, and this is all because of the noise cancellation and the noise gate, that it's getting rid of unwanted sounds that you don't really need at all. So that's kind of what it's doing. So let's change it to track size fit by height, and we've got all 4 tracks together. Again, OBS sound card and OBS mic, raw sound card, OBS mic, raw mic. Nice and simple. So I want to kind of just do a brief summary of why I have this redundancy. Let's say that something happened and your mic settings for your actual device got altered because of a Windows update, which means this mic audio is not how it should be. It's not perfect at all. You're getting sounds cut off where you shouldn't. So in this situation, you can't use track 1 and you can't use track 3 because both instances the mic audio is pretty much shot. So the way that I would handle this situation is we close down all those, and let's get our lovely waveform of our raw microphone. The first port of call that we need to do is left click and highlight everything, and then we go into effects, we go noise and repair, and we click on click removal. Normally I set threshold to around 250 and spike 20, so we click apply. You won't really see what it's done, it's just reduced some annoying sounds in the background to be less. So when we do the next part, which is run a noise gate over it, because it's been dropped down, got a higher chance that it's going to just take all the audio out. So before we do this, we need to take a look at our audio. So as you can see, we've got our mic here, and most of the speech is in like the 24 to 18 mark. 30 would be safe, so I'll take it to like, what, 36 maybe? Yeah, 36, maybe even 38. So go Effect, Noise Removal, Noise Gate. Oh, you have to select it all first. Noise Gate. We set this to our 39. The reduction level is how much it gets reduced by. So anything that's underneath minus 39, aka around here, will get reduced by 100 decibels, basically flattening it out. And you'll see what I mean when I hit apply. All those little bits in between are gone. So let's have a little bit of a listen. And yeah, that kind of works. So let's look for a bit where I'm talking for a bit. So let's say this middle section here. I click play and I watch for where I'm speaking. And I'm speaking between the 24 and the 18. The reason we need to know this is because now we need to play with a compressor. This is where we're going to bring down the loud noises and bring up the quiet noises. So we go Effect, Compression, Volume Compression, Compressor. So halfway between 24 and 18, I would guess, say 19. Take it one more. Our noise floor is minus 40. We've got everything reduced and a ratio of 4 to 1. Make sure these two bottom things are unchecked and click apply. And it's just brought in the top of the high bits down a little bit. So with that in mind, what we then do is we go normalize and normalize peak amplitude to -8. And because we've taken the top end of the peaks down, it made the peaks quieter. It means we can actually bring up the volume of everything else. So with that all done, we now export this and we call it testing. So that's the audio cleaned up. Next thing that we're going to want to do is go again to that same audio file and go to the second track, because this is our simulated gain. So the first thing we need to do is volume compression normalize, go for the -8, makes it a little bit wider. Then we go into our folder and we've got our testing.wav. We drag that in. This has been normalized to -8. That's been normalized to -8. So we select the entire top track and we go Effect, Volume Compression, Auto Duck. I like to have half a second fade in, half a second fade out. Normally this sits at about -10, -12. I kind of like to have a -14. What this is doing is whenever this audio here goes over what we set here of a threshold of -24, it's going to get this track and pull it down 14 dB. But whereas in OBS it was doing it on the fly, because this has both the audio before and after, it can actually make the auto ducking work a lot more smoothly than what you actually do in a stream, because it can see what's coming before and after the sample that it's on, whereas when you're in OBS it can only react in real time, which normally means you have a problem of the audio ducking down in the first place. This kind of makes it a bit more straightforward. So as you can see, all this got squished, then I'm not talking, it got loud. Then it got squished, not talking, loud. Squished, not talking, squished. So we then close that and we export this audio as testing 2. And we're ready to move on to the next stage. So now I need to load up my video editing software. So welcome to Vegas 19. This is a whole other kit and caboodle that I could go into in a future video, but long and the short of it is what I need to do is go to my recording, go and find that 46-second clip. So there's the MKV. This is the MP4 version, so we import it. The next thing we want to do is import the 2 audio files. I drag this down and we go delete track and delete track, unbind here, and then just remove those 2. So this is the video, even though there's nothing going on. The next part I want to do is get our game audio in, and then our mic audio, and that's about it. So I'm going to save this, and then we are going to render it. So that's all rendered. So let's go back to Audacity. And we open that video file that we just created, which I put in my uploading folder. So this is the new audio. So we've got our cleaned up mic and our ducking. So let's have a bit of a listen. Lovely yellow stage, and our raw mic is a little bit lower because it's got no filters on. The next thing I'm going to do is just play a music track in the background so we can see that the raw sound card is staying at one constant level, and what we're seeing is when I'm speaking to the microphone, the OBS is actually ducking down the audio. So this is a proof of concept in regards to how things have worked. So now I'm going to stop the recording. So just listening to that, you can instantly tell that the mic is okay, but when we get over into this section, because of the nature of the sound, it's boom, it's loud. So in that sort of situation, what I would do is go back over into the video editor, and like I say, this is the advantage of having this redundancy, because the audio mix would have been wrong, and we kind of have a minus. Let's see what a -6 does. The audio. So this is a proof of concept in. So yeah, that's with -6. So let's save that and let's make a new render. So the render is complete. Let's jump over to Audacity. We close that audio file. And let's open testing 2. And we go back to the same section to see what happens. One constant level. And what we're seeing is when I'm speaking to the microphone, the OBS is actually ducking down the audio. So this is a proof of concept in regards to how things have worked. And as you can actually hear, the audio is now not overpowering the mic audio. This again is why I like this entire idea of redundancy. You can never be 100% sure how your audio mix, if the mic, the game, and possibly even Discord is going out. Just give me that extra bit of security in regards to if there's ever a problem with the main track that's been mixed, I've got the original audio sources to be able to create a new track with custom filters and manual ducking. This has been heavily focused on, obviously, on the microphone side and OBS and multitracking. The next video is going to kind of continue down the audio line, but I'm actually going to be focusing more on the aspect in regards to your actual game audio. So that should actually be considerably shorter video because I don't have as much that I need to go through. But it's definitely the sort of thing that I think is worth talking about. If you have any questions or comments in regards to what's in this video, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section or come and find me on Discord. With all that said, I think that's about it for this part. Thanks for watching. Till next time, have a good one.